Hey loves, so today I'm going to talk about a little bit about my journey, my exercise journey, because I decided I wanted a sexy bod and I'm going to get me one. It's been a struggle for me for a long time, and I've sought out a lot of spiritual healers because of this issue. I've sought out a lot of medical doctors because of this issue, because I have a pretty darn clean diet, and I have for years. But losing weight was a struggle for me. I remember when I was little, my mom said, she said, not have all your kids before 30, because after 30, I couldn't have children anymore. And this always kind of sat in the back of my head, like, why the hell? You know, because my mom has 7 kids, but she couldn't have any get pregnant, and she had a lot of miscarriages after 31. Anyways, so my sister Margaret was the last one she could have. And my mom has excessively gained weight excessively ever since, and she's had a really hard to getting it off. And even when she has a very clean diet, the weight wasn't falling off, and she was walking, she was doing all the things, and it got so discouraging, and she had to just learn to love herself the way she was. So we're going to talk about a death sentence to a lot of women. It's called PCOS, and my mom never got diagnosed, and so I'm actually going to be getting with a doctor today to determine that this is exactly what I have. But I knew it was coming because it's a genetic disorder that they're not really sure what causes it, other than it's genetically passed down. And this is where alternative and medical go hand in hand. Learning to know your genetics is very highly beneficial, because you get to figure out what do I avoid to lessen the blow, or how do I manage this before it comes. But because it's genetically in our DNA and it's genetically passed down, karmic or whatever it is, no matter what you do, it eventually catches up with you if you're not paying attention. I have a fly on me. Anyways, so the first indication I had of this was when I had a lot of issues when I was younger. Like, my thyroid was overactive. I couldn't gain weight. I had a very high sex drive. I had a lot of emotional ups and downs. I got low blood sugar super fast. And so all the indications were there, because I had almost gestational diabetes with my first pregnancy. So there were all the little indications there, but because I managed myself so well with my diet, I didn't eat sugar, I didn't drink alcohol, I didn't do a lot of these, I didn't really even eat like a lot of carbs. I ate a lot of vegetables, and fruit and meats and things like that. So I didn't really have some of the other signs, and that's why I was able to bypass a lot of the indicators, because a lot of girls with this disorder, they get acne, and I have beautiful skin. Their hair starts falling out, and that's obviously not my problem. They gain weight, and that's something that didn't start happening until I got older. So when I was 29 years old, and I was in a really high stress job, and the last month, I loved my job, but the last month, the management was being extremely abusive to my agents. And I got in the crossfire of it because I wouldn't fire them. I thought what they were doing was unethical. And I ended up getting let go because of the situation. But they gave me a severance package because they knew what they were doing wasn't okay, and that I could sue. And I could sue and benefit. I honestly wanted to sue them just for the benefit of my agents. Anyone who worked there would understand what I'm talking about. It was an extremely high stressful job, and the center has now been shut down because of the crap that they were doing to their agents. Anyways, but before that lady showed up, it was a beautiful place. It was a great place to work. Great everything. It was just that one sect of management was not cool at all. And I did my job, and I protected my agents. And in the meantime, I gained 40 pounds in 1 month. Not 40, I guess. I went from 115 to 140 in 1 month. Oh my gosh, the flies. This is what happens when you have 2-year-olds that lay doors open. And I don't kill things. So I'm stuck in a little bit of a conundrum here. I might have to kill flies, and I don't want to. Just so you know. Okay. How do I have this talk? Anyways, long story short, I gained a ton of weight that month that I got let go because of the stress. And it threw me completely for a loop because that was pretty unheard of. I hadn't changed my diet or anything. So I started seeking out alternative doctors. I started getting clearings. I even talked to a few medical doctors, but I had none of the other indications, which leads to PCOS at the time because I had managed it so well with diet. I had regular periods. I was fertile. I had all of, I was a fertile myrtle actually. So we totally didn't see this coming, but I knew my mom had something. So after Zachary was born, I started to bleed super heavy on my periods. I was still having regular cycles, but I would drown a maxi every hour. And I should have called the hospital, but I ended up seeking out another professional that I trusted, and they helped me start managing it, but then I got pregnant again. So I was like, oh. And with Ashton, I lost a ton of weight when I was pregnant with him because I had that HCG in my system. So I was like, oh, I'm fine. I'm able to lose weight. And I lost 30 pounds in 3 months when I was pregnant with Ashton. But then after Ashton was born, losing weight was again hard. And I was like, what the freak is going on? So I just managed it and et cetera, et cetera. Well, I gained 20 pounds in 1 month. Not this month, but last month. And I wasn't eating because of the situation that I was in. I just didn't have the money to buy the food I needed, and so I just bought food for my kids, and the food they were eating was not food that I was willing to eat. And so I just stopped eating that month, but instead of losing weight, I gained 20 pounds. And so that was a massive, and I broke out on my chin. And I had never broken out on my chin before. In fact, I freaking love my skin. I have beautiful skin. I have like hardly any stretch marks. Like my skin is gorgeous, and I've never had problems with acne or anything. Which again is another reason how I was able to hide what I have, is because my skin was always beautiful. Anyways, so last night I'm on my computer and my angels are like, look here, look here, look here. And I was super late. I was working super late. And then around midnight, I just had a prompting to Google my chin situation. And I Googled it before, but I couldn't find, and I knew it had to do with hormonal imbalances. And that's why I knew, it was female hormonal imbalances. But I decided to actually look deep. And I found this great article, and it talks about how if you start getting chin acne, it's a sign of PCOS. And I'm not going to go into the big terminology. You can look into it. Anyways, and when I started reading the things, and it talks about how it's really, really hard to lose weight on PCOS. And I had been not eating sugar, carbs, none of that, eating super clean for a month, working out every single day, and I haven't dropped a pound. And I had this, and I was like, shit. And then I started reading the symptoms more, and I'm like, oh my gosh, because that's what my mother was experiencing, but also all my sisters. So this is completely genetic, and I can see it in every single one of them now, and I'm like, ugh. So there's a part of me that's a little mad at my mom right now. Mom, I'm mad. I'm mad that you didn't go get checked out because we told you to. We knew something was going on because my mom has worked so hard to lose weight, and she had such a hard time. And I love you, Mom, but had we known what this was, there's some great things that there are alternatively and medically you can do to prevent it. And even though I manage it so well with my diet, and I'm so proud of myself, there are a few things that I could have been taking and doing in the long run that would have helped so much. And so I have a lot of anger right now. A lot of, I don't want to get out of bed. I just want to die. I'm kind of pissed because it's been such a struggle. Like my legs fatigue way faster than other people's, and it completely makes sense now. Where before I was like, what the freak's wrong with me? Like, because I was doing all this stuff, and I'm like, this shouldn't be happening. But people with this disorder, their muscles deteriorate super fast. So they have to work out. They can't stop working out, or their muscles will deteriorate. I remember once I went skiing with my husband, and getting to the bottom of the hill was excruciating for me, excruciatingly painful. And I'm looking around, and I'm talking to other people that are much heavier and bigger and older than I am, and they weren't in the pain that I was in. And that's when I was like, something is off here. And I was trying to talk to Jason about it, And he thought I was just making it up. And when he recognized, when we were talking today and he saw it, and he's like, oh my gosh, he's like, I'm sorry. He's like, I see now that I've been way hard on you, but I realized what was you were going through, because of some of the things it causes. And I recognize now I've always kind of had it, but because I managed it so well, it was undetectable. Anyways, but there's things you can absolutely do. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about using the medical and the alternative, as I think there's a beautiful balance, and I think this is when true miracles happen, and this is why I don't recommend people just do alternative methods. I think if you have some serious stuff going on, go get checked out, please. Like, people come to me and want me to heal it. I'm not a doctor. I am not here to cure you. I am simply here to help you with the emotional aspects of what may be causing your issue. But there's a reason why there's doctors. There's other alternative doctors as well. I don't prescribe medications. I don't prescribe alternative treatments, any of that kind of stuff. There's herbalists out there. There's amazing doctors. I don't have to compete with any of them because we all have our gifts and our abilities, and mine are different than theirs. And I can do some really cool things. But in fact, a lot of my patients, I had one client who had a little girl that she kept breathing really, really, really heavy. And I felt like there was, this was not normal. And I went in, and through Theta, I was able to see that there was a problem with her heart. And I told the mom, I says, I need you to go get this checked out. Well, she took it to a doctor, and the doctor says, no, nothing's fine. Because the doctor wasn't because I can energetically connect, and I could feel something was wrong. And the doctor couldn't feel that. And again, the mom brought her to me, and again I was like, something's going on. And I went in again, and I saw that there was a heart issue, and I said, this is what's going on. Finally, she went into a specialist. She ran in, and this one specific specialist just happened to be there that day, and she's like, oh my gosh. And she checked out the baby, and she said, this is what this baby has. And she says, this is extremely rare, and I'm so grateful you brought her in because she wouldn't have survived. Anyways, so they went in, and they medically were able to fix the heart. So by combining my gifts and the doctor's gifts, this baby is alive today, and she's doing awesome. So my gifts are so cool, but I'm not a doctor, okay? And so, anyways, so we're going to talk about how to manage this PCOS. I'm going to kill these flies. I don't kill things, but I'm going to. Using medical and alternative. So I'll be checking in with my doctor today and getting on a couple different things to manage this, because I want to look hot, and I want to freaking be a size 115 again. That's my cool, and I want to feel strong, and I want to be able to hike long distances and not get fatigued, because I'm freaking married to Hercules. My husband's like got this immense ability to hike, and so I always felt a little bit inadequate because I was not able to keep up with him. And this is why. So how medical people treat this is they put you on birth control. It helps you regulate your periods. It helps you with the hair and the acne. And again, those three things I'm golden on. But it also helps with your libido because it balances. So where I had excess libido as a child, or not child, in my young 20s, I had like insane libido, like 5 times a day. But then as I got older, it dropped off, and et cetera, et cetera. So I want to balance that back out to a healthy state. I still have a libido, but my husband knows it's different than what we used to have. So he would like that corrected. So the birth control can help with that. But you want to get the older types, the types that help with the testosterone, because I'm having too much testosterone. So what happens is, in my case, is I got too much of the male hormone going on, which is interesting because my libido is not as high as it used to be. But anyways, I'm not going to get on to all the terminology. You can look up if you want all the big words. Anyways, so the birth control can help that. They also have something called metformin, which has, in this situation, has really helped a lot of women lose the weight, help their libido, all those kind of things. So those are 2 things I'll be checking with my doctor on today when I go in. Some of the alternative are isotal, myoisotal. They say they've done studies where if you take 4 grams of that with folic acid a day, so they did a study where they gave it to half the group, they just gave folic acid to, and then the other half they gave that folic acid with the 4 grams of isotal, I can't even say it right, Inositol. Anyways, anytime you look it up, both alternative and medical doctors recommend this one. The women that were taking it with this disorder lost weight, where the women that were just doing the folic acid on the same diet gained weight. So this was another indication. I used to do boot camp, and I went to this lady, and she was freaking out herself because here I was taking her boot camp and working my ass off, and I was still gaining 4 pounds a month. Instead of losing anything, I was gaining weight every time I did it. And she was like, what the freak is happening? She's like, she wanted me to go get my thyroid. And somebody checked it and they said I was fine. But at the same time, it can cause thyroid issues and things like that. But anyways, so women on this study gained weight eating the same diet the other girls were eating, but the other girls lost weight, and the only thing they added was inositol 4 grams a day. And that's something you can actually get in a health food store. Pretty basic. Vitamin D is something they recommend for us to take every day. Vitamin B complex, because we tend to be low in those areas, and cinnamon to balance our insulin, because our blood sugar, because this could lead to diabetes. Diet dues. We have to have 40% more protein than other people. 40%! And that means we have to have protein with every single meal. I actually did vegan and vegetarian, and I did okay on vegetarian. Vegan, I actually lost a lot of weight when I was doing vegan, but what happened was I got so lethargic and so sick. Within a month, I was like starting to black out, and I was trying to eat the supplemental proteins, and you know what? I totally think I could have done it had I educated myself better and I was doing better at it. So I think you can totally be vegan doing this. Just make sure that you have the right proteins every single meal. And again, I did okay vegetarian, but I also started gaining weight again. I think it's just because you have to have a lot more protein with a specific diet. So if I wanted to do this vegetarian or vegan, I'm going to have to really do a lot of research and find the right foods for that, because you have to have protein for every single meal. And 40% more than average people. Lots of leafy greens, because you need a lot of anti-inflammatory foods. A lot of healthy omega fats like wild salmon, things like that. Lots of chia seed, flaxseed, and walnuts tend to help with this particular disorder. And also working out 90 minutes before you eat. They're saying it absorbs the insulin, because we get too much insulin in our system. Oh, by the way, the metformin that the doctors prescribe helps you, there's something, I think it was that one, where it helps you absorb the insulin better, and that's why they give it to you. Anyways, but working out before you eat helps your muscles absorb that insulin so it doesn't turn to fat. Because everything we eat, excess calories, and this is, we're going to go into the don'ts. We actually are supposed to eat 400 calories less than average women. Because every excess calorie we eat turns straight to fat. Our body does not process it right, and it turns it straight to fat. So we have to be really, really careful. Let's say you're supposed to eat 1,800. We would actually be eating 1,400 calories a day. So we have to be really, really careful there. No processed foods. Eliminate sugar. Cut back on all alcohol. You can have a little bit of wine here and there, but they're saying the alcohol causes some serious issues. These are people that have actually had the disorder and completely reversed it medically, where the medical doctors have tested them and couldn't find any more signs. So they removed alcohol completely from their diet. They removed sugar, they removed gluten, and they removed dairy. Some interesting foods that actually cause problems with people with this disorder, if they haven't, it's not really caused me a lot of problems, but some people will have problems with broccoli, asparagus, cabbage, those kind of things, because they're not digesting properly. So again, find out what works for your body, because even though people think it's healthy, it's not necessarily healthy for you. And be super kind to yourself, because it's like today I didn't want to get out of bed because I was like, what's the point? Because they've done studies and they're like, this disorder is so discouraging, because you can work out all day long or all month or whatever and not lose a pound. But I'm grateful for it, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to experience this so that I can help many, many women. There's so many disorders that I have had, like bipolarism, manic depression, anxiety disorder, fibromyalgia. All of these things I've experienced, and I've been able to overcome through diet and understanding what it was and treating it specifically and doing energy work and healings and talking to my doctors. So I've eliminated all those from my life. Do I think this is possible to eliminate this one? Absolutely. But in the meantime, I'm going to sulk a little bit because I'm fucking pissed. Because I didn't know about this 6 years ago. But I was able to have kids. So I'm going to be grateful because there's a lot of girls who can't. And I'm grateful for the fact that my cycles have always been good. And even though, you know, it could have been really bad. You know, there's some girls that it is devastating for, but I'm right there where I can control it and I can nip it in the butt and I can reverse this. And so that's a challenge, and I like challenges. I like to overcome things, and I like to be able to show other people how to do this. And so that's my goal. I'm going to show you guys how to freaking rock and roll this and overcome it all. Anyways, I love you. Thanks for listening to my videos. Thanks for supporting me. Thanks for being a freaking rock star. And you have a blessed day.